Virgo, you did not click on this video by accident, and I need you to actually believe that before we go any further. Something pulled you here, Virgo, in the exact moment you needed to receive what Spirit has been holding for you. This is not coincidence. This is not algorithm alone. There is a reason this specific message found you on this specific day, and I want to walk you through exactly what that reason is, what is building in your life right now, and what something big actually means in the context of everything Spirit is showing me today. Stay with me through this entire reading because I do not want you to miss a single layer of what is coming through. Let me describe what I felt the moment this energy opened, because the very first impression carries real signal about the magnitude of what we are examining. I felt acceleration immediately, the specific quality of something that has been building slowly and quietly, finally reaching its point of visible expression. This is not the energy of something distant or theoretical. This is the energy of momentum that has already gathered enough force to become real, tangible, and close to you. Whatever has been developing in the unseen parts of your life is approaching the moment where it becomes undeniable. I also felt a specific kind of clarity present in this energy, a directness that told me this message was not meant to be vague or generally applicable to everyone watching. This was assembled with you specifically in mind, with your particular journey, your particular waiting, your particular hope, all carefully factored into what is being communicated today. I want to talk about why you specifically were meant to see this, because I think understanding the reason behind the timing matters significantly. I am sensing you have been in a season of genuine patience, holding space for something you have wanted without forcing it, without abandoning hope even when the waiting stretched longer than you initially expected it to. This patience has not gone unnoticed. I am sensing that the readiness you have cultivated during this waiting period, the internal work you have done, the way you have continued showing up for your own life even while holding space for something more, has created exactly the conditions necessary for what is now approaching to actually arrive and to actually land well in your life. I am also sensing you have been asking whether through prayer, through quiet hope, through simply wishing in the privacy of your own heart for some kind of sign that things were genuinely moving in your favor. This reading is that sign. Spirit wanted you to know clearly and directly that what you have been hoping for is not simply wishful thinking. It is real and it is close. I want to expand on this further because I think the specific quality of your patience deserves more attention than a brief acknowledgement provides. This has not been passive waiting where you simply allowed life to happen around you without engagement. I am sensing active, intentional patience, the kind that requires continuing to make decisions aligned with your values even when immediate evidence of reward was not visible. You kept choosing integrity. You kept choosing growth. You kept choosing to believe, even quietly, even when belief required more effort than certainty would have, that something genuinely good was still possible for you. I also want to address something about the specific quality of doubt you may have experienced during this waiting period, because I think honoring this complexity matters. There were likely moments where you questioned whether your patience was wisdom or simply stubbornness, whether continuing to hope was healthy or whether it had become a form of avoiding necessary acceptance of disappointment. I want you to know that the patience you maintained through this uncertainty was not naive. It was, in fact, exactly the quality that has positioned you to receive what is now arriving. Let me speak to what this something big actually involves, because Spirit is showing me several distinct dimensions, and I want to walk through each one carefully and completely. I am sensing movement in your relationships, something shifting in how genuine connection is becoming available to you, whether through the deepening of an existing relationship or the arrival of someone new whose presence in your life will feel immediately significant rather than gradually building toward significance over a long period of time. This shift carries a quality of rightness to it, the sense of something finally clicking into place after a period where connection may have felt more effortful or uncertain. I am also sensing movement in your circumstances more broadly, opportunities or resources becoming available that address something you have been navigating, whether that involves your work, your finances, or simply the practical texture of your daily life. This movement has the quality of relief attached to it, the specific sensation of pressure finally easing after sustained difficulty. I want to add a third dimension here as well, because Spirit is showing me this as significant for many of you watching this reading. I am sensing movement specifically within yourself, an internal shift in how you understand your own worth, your own capability, your own readiness to receive good things without the self-doubt or minimizing that may have previously colored your experience of receiving. This internal shift is, in many ways, the most significant dimension of all, because it is what allows the external movements in your relationships and circumstances to actually land and take root rather than being unconsciously sabotaged or dismissed. I also want to speak to how these three dimensions, relational, circumstantial, and internal, are connected rather than separate from each other. The internal shift creates the conditions for the relational and circumstantial movements to become visible and to be received fully. And as those external movements arrive and are genuinely received, they further reinforce and deepen the internal shift, creating a positive cycle that builds upon itself rather than remaining isolated within any single area of your life. Does this feel like it is connecting to something you have already been sensing, Virgo? Has there been a quiet feeling building in you recently that something is about to shift, even before you had the words for what that shift might actually be? Let me know in the comments. I want to hear how this is resonating with your own experience. I want to address the timing of what is coming, because I think this deserves careful, honest examination rather than vague promises alone, given everything else this reading has already shared with you. I am sensing this is close, not in the sense of a specific date I can name with certainty, but in the sense of something that has already moved past the planning or developing stage and into the stage of actual visible arrival. The energy here does not have the quality of something still many months away. It has the quality of something already in motion, already approaching, already close enough that your attention and your readiness genuinely matter right now rather than at some distant future point. I also want to address something important about how this timing actually works. The reason this is arriving now rather than earlier connects directly to your own readiness. Certain things needed to develop within you first. Certain lessons needed to be fully learned. Certain healing needed to genuinely take root before what is now approaching could actually land in a way that serves you rather than simply repeating old patterns in new circumstances. I want to expand on this principle of readiness further because I think it deserves more thorough examination. There is a particular kind of universal wisdom in timing that does not simply deliver good things the moment they are wanted, but rather delivers them when the receiving person has developed the capacity to actually hold and sustain what is being offered. I am sensing that earlier versions of yourself at earlier points in this waiting period may not have been fully equipped to receive what is now approaching without it potentially overwhelming you, or without you potentially undermining it through patterns or beliefs you had not yet fully addressed. I also want to address something about the specific markers of readiness that I am sensing you have now developed. A settled relationship with your own worth that does not require external validation to remain stable. A capacity to receive good things without immediately searching for the catch or the eventual disappointment. A grounded sense of your own boundaries and needs that allows you to engage fully with new opportunities without losing yourself in the process. These are the qualities that have brought you to this point of genuine readiness, and they are exactly what will allow what is coming to actually take root and flourish in your life. Inhale with me for a moment, Virgo. I want to speak to what this arrival is going to feel like when it actually happens, because I think preparing for the emotional texture of it matters as much as understanding its content and its meaning for your life. I am sensing a moment of genuine surprise, even though this reading is telling you in advance that something significant is coming. Knowing intellectually that something big is approaching does not always prepare a person for the actual felt experience of it arriving in real time. I am sensing you are going to feel a rush of emotion when this happens, possibly tears, possibly a kind of disbelief that requires a moment to fully process before the reality of what is happening fully settles into your awareness and your heart. I want to describe what specifically might trigger this unfolding, because I think understanding the catalyst helps you recognize it clearly when it actually arrives in your real, ordinary life. For some of you, this is going to come through a specific conversation, words spoken by someone significant that shift the entire trajectory of a situation you have been navigating. For others, this is going to come through an external event, news or information that arrives from a source you were not necessarily expecting, carrying implications that ripple outward into multiple areas of your life simultaneously. And for some of you, this is going to come through your own internal realization, a moment of clarity that, once it arrives, makes the next steps in your life suddenly and undeniably clear in a way they were not before. I want to expand on each of these possibilities further, because I think the specificity helps you recognize whichever one applies to your particular situation when it actually occurs. If this arrives through conversation, I am sensing it will likely happen in a setting that feels relatively ordinary at first, not a dramatically staged moment, but rather an unplanned exchange that takes an unexpectedly significant turn partway through. Pay attention to conversations that feel like they are building towards something more than their surface content initially suggests. If this arrives through external event or information, I am sensing this will involve a source you have not been actively monitoring or expecting communication from, which is part of what will make it feel surprising, even though this reading has prepared you for the general possibility. The information itself will carry weight beyond its initial appearance, requiring a moment of processing before its full significance becomes clear to you. If this arrives through internal realization, I am sensing this will likely occur during a period of relative quiet or stillness, perhaps during a moment when you are not actively trying to solve or figure anything out, when your mind has enough space to allow genuine insight to surface naturally rather than being forced through effortful analysis. This kind of realization often arrives unexpectedly, during ordinary activities like driving, showering, or simply resting, rather than during deliberate, focused problem solving. I want to address something important about your own role in receiving what is coming, because I do not want you to feel like a purely passive recipient simply waiting for something to happen to you without any agency of your own. I want you to stay genuinely present in your actual life during this period, rather than becoming so consumed with anticipation that you miss the small, ordinary moments where this bigger thing is actually beginning to take shape. Significant arrivals rarely announce themselves with the kind of obvious fanfare that makes them impossible to miss. They often arrive quietly at first, embedded within ordinary days, requiring your genuine presence and attention in order to be fully recognized and received. I want to speak to something about gratitude here because I think it deserves real attention as you move through the days leading up to this arrival, whatever specific form it ultimately takes for you. I am sensing that gratitude for what has already been given to you, even amid the difficulty of waiting for what is still approaching, creates a kind of internal openness that allows what is coming to land more fully and more smoothly. I want you to take a moment, genuinely, to acknowledge what is already good in your life right now, not as a way of settling for less than what you are still hoping for, but as a way of cultivating the receptive, grateful energy that allows abundance to continue flowing toward you rather than constricting through impatience or scarcity thinking. I want to address what you might be tempted to do during this period of anticipation and why I want to gently caution against it with real care for your own well-being and your own peace. There may be a temptation to try to force or accelerate what is coming, to take actions driven more by anxious impatience than by genuine, grounded clarity about what actually serves your highest good. I want you to resist this particular temptation. What is approaching is already in motion, already unfolding according to its own genuine timing. Your role is not to force it forward through anxious effort, but to remain open, present, and ready to receive it when it actually arrives in its own natural time, in its own natural form. Let me speak to what comes after this significant arrival, because I do not want this reading to end at the moment of arrival without addressing what it genuinely opens for the rest of your life going forward. I am sensing this is not an isolated event that happens and then simply concludes, leaving everything else unchanged around it. This is a catalyst, something that sets additional movement into motion across multiple areas of your life. What begins with this single significant arrival continues to unfold and develop in the weeks and months that follow, creating a genuine season of positive momentum rather than a single isolated moment of good fortune surrounded by a return to stagnation afterward. I want to expand on this momentum further because I think understanding the larger pattern helps you hold the full significance of what is approaching. Once this initial arrival occurs, I am sensing a kind of cascading effect where the confidence and clarity produced by this first significant shift creates the conditions for additional positive developments to occur more readily than they would have otherwise. Success and positive movement, once genuinely experienced, tend to produce more of the same, partly through practical, tangible means, and partly through the simple, powerful effect of believing more fully in your own capacity to receive good things after having genuinely experienced one. I want to speak to your own preparation for this moment because I think practical guidance here serves you better than only mystical reassurance alone. I want you to continue doing the things that have brought you to this point of readiness. Continue your own healing work. Continue showing up for your responsibilities and your relationships with the same integrity that has characterized you throughout this waiting period. Continue trusting your own discernment and your own inner knowing, because these qualities, cultivated through everything you have already walked through, are exactly what will allow you to receive what is coming with the clarity and the grace it deserves. I want to expand on this further because I think practical specificity serves you better than general encouragement alone. This continued practice might look like maintaining whatever daily habits or rituals have supported your well-being during this waiting period, whether that involves prayer, meditation, journaling, exercise, or simply consistent connection with people who genuinely support you. These practices have built the foundation you are currently standing on, and there is no reason to abandon them simply because something significant is approaching. If anything, maintaining them through this transitional period will help you stay grounded enough to receive what is coming without becoming destabilized by the intensity of genuine, significant change. I also want to address something about continuing to release control over the specific timing and form of what is coming. While this reading has shared what Spirit is showing me about the general shape and approaching nearness of this arrival, holding too tightly to specific expectations about exactly how or when it will unfold can sometimes create resistance to receiving it in whatever form it actually takes. I want you to remain open to the genuine surprise of how this unfolds, trusting that what arrives, even if it looks somewhat different from what you specifically imagined, will carry the genuine substance and significance this reading has described. As I bring this reading toward its close, I want to leave you with the complete picture Spirit shared today. You were meant to see this message specifically because something significant is approaching your life, something that has been building quietly and that is now reaching the point of visible, tangible arrival. This involves movement in your relationships and in your broader circumstances, arriving through a specific catalyst that will likely surprise you, even though this reading has prepared you for its general approach. Stay present, stay grateful, resist the urge to force what is already in motion, and trust that your own readiness, cultivated through everything you have already walked through, has prepared you completely for what is now arriving. Carry this knowing with you gently as you move through your ordinary days, trusting the timing of what is already unfolding. If this reading resonated with you today, please share it with a Virgo who might need to hear that something significant is genuinely approaching their life. And let me know in the comments what you are sensing building in your own experience right now. I read every comment, and I carry your stories with genuine care long after this video ends, holding space for whatever you are sensing building in your own life right now. Until next time, Virgo, you were meant to see this, and what is coming was always meant to find you exactly when you became ready to receive it.